Well, can you believe it? You're finally here on your last and final step on this journey to financial freedom. Step 9. And this step is all about living a life of true wealth. You know, after it's all said and done, even though I know we've gone through how to invest, dollar cost averaging, where to invest, trust, wills, powers of attorney, long-term care insurance, in the end, financial freedom is just not about your net worth. It's truly about your self-worth as well. For when your self-worth means as much to you as your net worth, then you have true financial freedom. You know, financial freedom is not just about what we do or do not have. It's not about what's parked in your driveway or stowed away in your safety deposit box. It's not about the square footage of your home or the size of your television screen. And I know you know that, but all of us tend to judge ourselves by what we have rather than who we feel we really are. I know you know that financial freedom is located in your heart, not in your bank account. But do you forget it? How often do you really remember it? How do you pull that up when you feel like you don't have enough to pay your bills? Financial freedom is not only about how much money we have, but truly it's about who we are towards ourselves, towards our loved ones, towards our community, and ultimately towards the planet as a whole. You see, true financial freedom is simply a state of mind. Throughout these tapes, I've shown you how abundance can come to you effortlessly when you clear your path of bad debt, irresponsible spending, and fear. And you know, and I know you know this, that once you've cleared away the obstacles using the techniques and resources I've provided you in this program, there is absolutely no reason at all why you can't enjoy the fruits of financial freedom. You know, within the tapes of this program, the Financial Freedom Yellow Pages, the guidebooks, the Breaking the Credit Card Habit book, you have all the tools that you need to succeed. The only tool that I really can't give you is your true desire, is your true belief in yourself that you really can make all these things happen. You can give that to yourself. You know you can. You can reach deep down inside, pull that out, and make a life of financial freedom, of true happiness, of true wealth happen for you. All you need to do is have faith in yourself that you deserve to have financial freedom and that, in fact, you will. You see, the success that we're looking for in this program and that you should be looking for in your life is being able to recognize what true wealth really is. I want you to think about this. There is not one of us that when we leave this earth, and every single one of us is going to do so, there's not one of us that's going to be able to take a penny of what we have with us. All these possessions, the cars, the furs, the clothes that we have, everything that we may value today, guess what? It's going to stay right here when we exit. When you're on your deathbed, I can promise you that there is not one of you that's going to be thinking about, ugh, why didn't I buy IBM at 40 now that it's at 150? Or why didn't I just get to buy that one little red Mercedes convertible that I always wanted? Nope, that's not what your thoughts are going to be about. They're going to be about your memories. They're going to be about your loved ones. They're going to be about, what was this all about anyway? You're going to be thinking about things far beyond what money can buy. So it's vital that you take an inventory right now of what really is important to you and also what isn't. I want you to imagine that somebody has just told you that you have 3 minutes to evacuate your house, that the floods are coming. Pretend you're in California here, where we've been experiencing these horrible floods in 1998. And you have to take the possessions that really mean something to you, and you have to leave. Look around your room. Look around your house. What would make a difference to you? You know, I have to tell you, this really happened to me in my own life a few years ago. I live in the Oakland Hills here in California, and there was a horrendous fire that destroyed 3,000 homes. and my home in the hills was directly in the path of this fire. And we were told that we needed to evacuate. And I knew I had about an hour to do so. And I walked around my house knowing that all I had was my car, that all I could do was fill that car up once, and then I was going to have to leave. And what surprised me so is when I finally filled up my car, the items that my car was filled up with. Nope, my car wasn't filled up with my clothes, although I did take a few possessions that could get me through for the next few days. It wasn't filled up with my stereo equipment or my television sets. It wasn't even filled up with my jewelry. It was filled up with the irreplaceable items that money couldn't buy, the pictures of my family, the possessions that were given to me that maybe only cost a few pennies to buy, but that were irreplaceable because of the memories that came with those items. My entire car was filled with memories, and that's what I was going to take with me, knowing very well that I might not see any other item that remained in my house. Those are the items that we're going to choose to take with us, the items of our memories. So what I want you to do is go to your guidebook and go to the exercise entitled What Really Matters Exercise. And I want you to think about this. If you were to have just a few minutes or maybe even an hour to gather everything in your house that means something to you, what would you take? Really go through this exercise as if it were really happening. Try to get a grasp on really what matters. Really try to get in touch with what has value for you. And I think you'll be shocked to see that the things that mean most to you, the things that represent freedom to you, have very little to do with how much you paid for them. So I want you to do this exercise right now. So please stop the tape and do so. And after you've completed it, then I want you to come back when you're ready. So was that an interesting exercise for you? Were you surprised to see what really has value for you and what really doesn't? It's always so amazing to me that we spend so much time wanting that which we can't even afford to buy. And when it comes down to the bottom line, those aren't even the things that we treasure in our lives. So why do we spend so much time fretting over them anyway? Do you see, when you start to get your life in perspective, what money can and cannot buy of value, maybe you've had financial freedom all along and you just haven't even known it. You know, years ago, I was in a class, and a very, very wise teacher asked me this question. And she had me do this exercise that I'm about to ask all of you to do. And the question that this teacher asked me, which I'm about to ask each and every one of you to answer as well, was this. Suze Orman, how do you deceive yourself? And really, with this one question I was asked, I learned more about money, I learned more about true wealth than all the years that I've spent on Wall Street. For here is the true key to unlocking financial freedom for you. How do you deceive yourself? How are you dishonest with yourself? So when you think about this question, I want you to wonder about, do you do things or say things to yourself or to others that simply don't reflect your true nature or your true beliefs? In other words, how are your actions and thoughts different from what lies in your heart? Do the people who know you have a whole different picture of who you are versus who you think you are? I've had people respond to this question by saying that they've deceived themselves into thinking that they're just not good with math, and therefore they'll never succeed with money. People have also admitted the opposite to me, that they deceive themselves by thinking that they're totally in control, when in reality they feel helpless inside. Now listen to me, men out there who are listening to this tape. A lot of you act exactly like that. You make everybody think that you're so competent with money, that you're so competent in your life. But you've got this deep, dark secret inside which says, I'm afraid, I don't really know what I'm doing, but you don't feel like you can tell everybody that. Are you deceiving yourself into thinking that you're stronger than you really are? You know, when I was first asked this question, the main thought that went through my head was, oh, Susie, you deceive yourself by maybe you exaggerate sometimes. Or maybe you don't like to tell people when you're mad at them. There was such value in me even contemplating this question because it was a question that made me truly face my own self-worth to myself. And you all have to remember that financial freedom is when your self-worth and your net worth are one. So what I want you all to do right now is to turn to the section in your guidebook under the exercise called, How Do You Deceive Yourself? And I want you to contemplate this question. Seriously contemplate it. And I want you to jot down the answer in your guidebook. And when you're ready, I want you to come back to the workshop where you're going to be hearing how the other participants responded to this exact same question. Fascinating question, isn't it? Probably the most thought-provoking of all questions that we've asked today. The one question that you have total control over as well, if you think about it. You're the only one who can deceive yourself. Other events can happen, Diane. Maybe the things that happened in your life that you aren't wanting to look at or whatever right now, maybe others did that to you. But when you asked a question such as, how do you deceive yourself? It has nothing to do with anybody else but you. It's a very, very powerful question. And what's even more powerful is the correct answer to that question. And there is a correct answer to that question. And it's an answer that applies to each and every one of us in this room and each and every one of us listening to this tape at home. But before we hear that answer, Miss Wendy, what did you write down?
I wrote down that I deceive myself by thinking that I don't deserve what I have unless I actually feel grateful and lucky for every single thing that I have, every minute, every day. And then if I go through a day without feeling lucky or grateful, that it will be gone.
Think about that. That's a great answer. That's a great answer, Wendy. So I want you to stay in touch with how you deceive yourself, all of you. Yes, Sheila?
My answer isn't nearly as clear. It's much more vague, but it's somehow I deceive myself in thinking that I have less control over my life than I probably do.
Again, another great answer. It's a great deception going on there. Miss Jeanette? Do you love this little laugh that she does every single time when I say her name?
How do I deceive myself? By not believing in myself and my capabilities and always thinking of myself as poor.
Brilliant answer. Miss Fran?
A couple things, but one is not listening to myself when there's an instinct that's talking to me, and I try and ignore it. I don't feel the feelings. I try and infer other feelings rather than the real underlying feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Just hiding behind something.
And Rebecca?
One of the big deceits is not thinking that I have enough.
Yes, not thinking that you have enough. And Claudia?
I deceive myself so well I don't know what it is that I do.
Mm-hmm. And Barbara?
I deceive myself by not using my capabilities fully.
Yes. And Mark?
By not acting on my dreams.
That's right, Mark. And Beth?
I wrote down that I can't deceive myself. I know what I'm really doing. Even when I'm deceiving myself, I know that I'm deceiving myself, so I can't do it.
Can't do it. Got it. I get that one. Patricia?
I deceive myself by saying I can't make it when I know I can.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
These are great lessons that we're all learning right here. Diane?
Just by keeping myself in the dark about everything that I own and everything that I have absolutely no idea. And think that things will just work itself out, just throw the chips in the air and just hide my head and let them
fall.
Yeah.
And Linda?
I deceive myself by holding on to the belief that I need other people to support me financially.
Interesting one. Margaret?
I think I deceive myself through making things look worse than they are and sort of leaving out things like I just refinanced and found out the issue of my house appreciating in value. I didn't even let that thought kind of come into my mind, just.
Yes. Linda?
I deceive myself into believing that I am less than, that I deserve less than, am not worthy of all the blessings that God has given me.
For serious, that's, yeah. Again, that empowerment, we just give it away. We give our power away.
We did Sheila. We did Jeanette. Yvonne?
Telling myself that I'm okay with how my life is right now when I'm not.
And Bob?
I don't save for the future. I don't plan for the future. I don't face my responsibilities. I hide from the future.
And Bob, do you want to live a future? You do. These were all, I have to tell you, in their own right, incredibly thought-provoking answers, if you think about it. That even a seminar on money can end with a question of, how do you deceive yourselves? That you've gotten to the point of really looking within. As you walk this path to financial freedom, one of the things you should remember is if you truly look within, you are never going to have to do without. If you truly look within, you are never going to have to do without. The journey starts with you. The journey ends with you. It is for you. It is for those you love. It's about coming one with yourself, with your money, with those you love, your family. It's about you choosing to finish the pyramid that we all looked at the beginning of this day on the dollar. You finishing this foundation that was given to you with such a purity that you each can do. I said that there was an answer to that question of how do we deceive ourselves. And it's really an answer that applies to every single person in this room. And the answer is this: by thinking that you're not perfect. That is how you truly deceive yourself. By thinking that you are not perfect. Bob and Fran and Rebecca and Claudia and Barbara and Mark and Beth and Wendy and Patricia and Diane and Linda and Margaret and Linda and Sheila and Pamela. And those of you at home, you are all perfect with or without money. You are perfect regardless of the schools you send your children to, the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, the neighborhoods you live in, regardless of how much you have on your credit cards and how much you don't. You are not just what you do. There is going to come a time in life when you aren't going to be defined by your job. One of my closest friends is by the name of Ruth. Ruth got her PhD in ancient Greek literature from Yale. Ruth was from the University of Chicago, one of the deans there. She was extraordinary. She is now 92 years of age. She's in who's who of American women. But when you meet Ruth today, Ruth doesn't introduce herself by saying, "Hi, I'm Ruth who was X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah." She's now just Ruth. Eventually, I'm not going to be able to say, "I'm Susie, a financial planner, author, blah, blah." I'm just going to be Susie. And that's true for each and every one of you. You are not what you do. You are not your job title. You are perfect just the way you are. If you could remember that, you are perfect just the way you are. If you could remember all the steps that we took together today. If you can remember your truth when you get afraid. If you can remember that everything is a blessing, everything happens for the best. If you can remember that when something goes wrong, it's okay. If you can remember to tell people about your money, your debts. If you remember to make an offering. If you can remember to take actions that you have what it takes to trust yourself more than you trust others, and to develop that within yourself, then what you are going to give yourself, it's not something I can give you, it's something you can give you. You're going to give yourself financial freedom. Freedom to not only live your life with your money, but to live your life with yourself. As a special treat, I've invited my dear friend Ruth to spend some time with you. Because you know it's not just enough for you to hear me say that Ruth lives a life of true wealth. It's another thing when you hear Ruth describe it herself. You know, there are a lot of reasons that I love Ruth. And one is that she has taught me so much about life, so much about true freedom. Because I tell you, I still ponder this question over and over again. Now that I've watched my clients become 70 or 80 or 90 years of age, and I've watched them die, the question has to be, what's this all about anyway? Is it just so simple that we're all born, we all work, we all make money, we all save our money, we all spend our money in our retirement years, and then we all die? Is that what it's about? Or is there more to it than just that? Since Ruth to me is truly the embodiment of true wealth, I want her to share that with you. I want you to see what she herself thinks about her own life. So join me in a conversation with Ruth, and you too will soon see what I'm talking about. You know, Ruthie, we've been friends for about 15 years, and you've come to teach me so very, very much about life in every way. So, Ruthie, here you are, and you're 92 years of age. Your health is failing. And as we sit here together, can you tell me and everybody who's going to be listening to these tapes what it is that matters most to you in life?
As I sit here, I know that I have a lot less to look forward to than I have to look back on. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really not ready to go. And how funny it is that the one thing that God does not prepare you for is the one thing that without a shadow of a doubt is going to happen to every one of us. And that's our death. But as I face my death, I realize how truly blessed I am because I have a sense of knowing who I am. That I really like what I see when I look into a mirror. No, I don't like the wrinkles. I don't like the fading eyesight or the inability to get around on my own anymore. But I love that I can sit for hours by myself and be content with my thoughts and with my memories, and to feel rich beyond what all the money in the world could buy. When I think back on my life, I don't think about the things that money brought me, although I'm appreciative that I've always had enough money because I was respectful of money and responsible toward it. And because of that, it's been able to take care of me as I grew older. But as I sit here and think back on my life, the fondest memories, the ones that really stir my heart, are the memories of people and my interactions with them. The wealth contained in the words that I so love to read. The wealth contained in the sermons that I hear at church. The wealth that I hear in the music that I love to listen to. and the wealth in my friends' eyes as they look at me with much love and respect. And above all, the love I feel for my precious Leon, my husband, who I lost about 20 years ago to a disabling disease. It was through his unconditional love that I found the strength within myself to know that the true key to eternal wealth lies within.
So, Ruthie, along with the wealth of love that you feel, that you've just expressed, can you tell everybody what your thoughts about the wealth of money are?
Well, I feel very fortunate that I've always had enough to buy everything I wanted. And these days, I really appreciate the fact that all my life I've taken my finances into my own hands.
So, Ruthie, I know in your life, because you've been a client and a friend of mine now for so many years, that you've been very lucky because you have financial freedom. You have that true wealth of who you are. But I also know that there are many people in your life, your friends, who aren't as lucky as you, who didn't plan as well as you, and who it's not so nice for right now, financially speaking. What's it like for you, Ruthie, when you look at those people and you see them suffering simply because they don't have enough money to live?
It's not easy for me to watch it, and I know it's impossible for them. They always say it wasn't supposed to be like this. What did I do wrong?
What is it that you think that they did wrong when it comes to their money?
I think they were afraid to deal with their money, or the lack of it. They didn't want to face the reality that they were getting older and wouldn't have a paycheck coming in. Their mistakes were that they thought their husband had handled the money correctly, and they never bothered to ask or find out about it until it was too late. You know, it was different for me because I worked. I had my own pension. I had my own retirement. And even way back then, it was important for me to handle my own affairs. And Leon encouraged me to do so.
So here you are now, Ruthie, and when you think about the life that you're living today, what is it that you like most about your life right now?
I like that I can face the short time I have left in this lifetime with a smile and joy. And I like that I don't have any regrets. And I like that I have the money to do whatever I want and not be a burden to anyone.
Ruthie, I know more about money than I'll probably ever need to know in my whole life. And hopefully I've taught you about money in the same way. But I just want to tell you that you've given me a sense of freedom. You've taught me more about life and about the true meaning of friendship than all the money in the world could buy. And I just want to thank you for that. And I want you to know that I love you, and I'll always love you. And you'll always be my Ruthie. You know, Ruthie, in her own way, just summed up for all of us what true financial freedom is all about. That she doesn't have any regrets, and that she's not a burden on anybody, including herself. How many of us oppress our own selves by how we feel about ourselves. You know, the world of money, of numbers and stock markets and interest rates and credit cards, truly seem like on the surface, as far as it could be from the world of spirituality, of seeking meaningful answers to the big question of life. Imagine how it feels to be on a noisy trading floor on Wall Street. But then I want you to take yourself and imagine how it feels to be alone in a quiet place of worship. Even though I know that these two worlds are far apart, these two worlds must flow in and out of each other, because it takes both money and spiritual understanding to sustain us. I know that a lot of you have felt very alone in your life when it comes to your money, especially your money problems, that you haven't felt like you had anybody to turn to. In fact, you didn't even know where to start. But by purchasing this program, by going through these tapes, you truly have made an incredible beginning. You know, one of the greatest lessons I learned was in step 7, and it was taught to me by those parrots, by those birds. But those birds also represent another part of our life, for in a way, each one of us is truly like a bird in flight. All of us were gifted with 2 wings when we were born. One wing is the wing of grace. It's the wing that keeps flapping and gets us through those hard times, that makes us know that everything really does happen for the best. And then we have another wing, and that's the wing of self-effort. You see, when we entered this world, we were given the gift to make it through no matter what happened to us. It was as if this all was a big test from God to say, can you do it? Can you pass this test? And to help us pass this test, we were given that wing of grace. But what we can give ourselves is that wing of self-effort. For when you start flapping that wing of self-effort, when you start doing these steps, when you make sure that your loved ones have a trust, have a will, have insurance to cover them, when you respect yourself enough to get out of credit card debt, start saving for your future, when you start trusting yourself more than you trust others and know that you can be in control of your money, when you start putting forth the effort from yourself to do those things, then your wing of self-effort starts to flap in the same rate that your wing of grace is flapping. And when we have both those wings flapping at the same time, you now have flight, and you have total flight into the world of financial freedom. And if you keep flapping, if you keep doing that, you're going to have flight for as long as you live. You know, the steps that you've just gone through have been a true evolution of 18 years of working with people and their money. But I have to tell you that they all started with me. As you know, I grew up in a situation where money was not abundant, where Mama had to work all the time, where my father, in my eyes anyway, was met with one misfortune after another. And truthfully, I never thought they were going to end. I knew with every part of my soul that the key to happiness truly would be to grow up and simply have money, to be rich. In fact, I believe this so strongly that when I was about 5 or 6 years of age, and you know how the teachers would come around the room and they would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, when my teachers asked me, what did you want to be, Susie, when you grew up? What I would say to them is, I want to be rich. Because I knew that if I could be rich, I would be happy. I mean, wasn't that why my mom and dad fought all the time? Wasn't that why so many people around me were so unhappy because they didn't have the money to pay their bills? So I knew that money would be the key to my happiness. Isn't that why many of you purchased this program? Because you knew if you had more money, or you believed if you had more money, you would be happy. It's true, more money will make your life easier, but it will not make you financially free. I know so many people who have so much money, and that's not the key to their happiness. I mean, that even happened to me. Back in 1983, I will never forget sitting in my backyard thinking, yes, money is the key to happiness. And I was looking at my bank statements. I was looking at my brokerage accounts, and I had more money than I ever dreamt possible. And what was such a bummer is I was miserable. The person I wanted to love me wasn't loving me. The friends that I wanted weren't giving me what I needed. I felt so empty inside, I didn't know where to turn. And I was absolutely so confused because if money wasn't the key to happiness, I had no idea what was. That's when I started to look within. And over the years, the answer came up that if you look within, just like Ruth said to you, if you look for the answers within, you are never going to have to do without. Please don't be so naive to think that financial freedom is simply about how the bottom line numbers read. Financial freedom truly is when you value that which you have within as much as you do in your bank accounts. Financial freedom is knowing that you have true wealth and that wealth lies within. And when you feel powerful within, when you know your true self-worth, you're going to feel powerful, and you're going to watch the bottom line numbers of your net worth increase dramatically. Remember, power attracts money. Powerlessness repels it. Don't repel that which you want. We have learned how powerful a force money is, and how it can create fears that will, if we let them, paralyze us in this life. And we have learned how to silence those fears and put them behind us. We have all learned about the essential right actions of money, and how once we take them, it will put our money and ourselves in step with the natural order of things. But most important, in these tapes, we have learned an essential lesson about abundance. That abundance is in crucial ways a state of mind. Our money will see us through this life, that it will do. It even has the power to live on far after we've gone, blessing the people we love through their lives too. It can even go on to generations that we will never know. I hope this program, however, will remind you of the richness and worthiness that have been in your life all along. And I hope, too, that this program will help you to create more wealth to sustain you and those you love. I hope you've written notes all over the place to yourself and marked the pages in the guidebook that were particularly useful to you. But I want you to know that this program alone will not make you financially free. That money itself just doesn't have the power to make you financially free. Only you can make yourself financially free, and you can do that and so much more. You have the power. Now is the time for this program to end and your future to begin. I'm asking you to believe these lessons, to live them, for financial freedom is truly within your reach. I wish you a life of abundance, joy, and true wealth of all kinds.